أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب إلى ربك فارغب. Another short surah with only 8 ayat. So we start with ayah number 1. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. The here is the Hamzatul Istifham. Istifham. Lam we know is harfu nafi wa jazmin wa qalbin. It converts the meaning of a mudari to madi. Nashra is fail mudari majzoom bilam. Fa'il mustatir taqdiruhu nahnu, and that nahnu goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Laka is jar wa majroor, and then sadra ka. Sadra is maf'ulun bihi بفعل نشرة وهو مضاف, and ka is مضاف إليه. Okay. Look at the meanings. Alam, so it's a question. So we will start with did not. Nashra. Okay. So sharaha yashrahu sharhan. Bab fataha, to uncover, to open. Also to explain, to make plain, as well as meaning also contains to cut in slices or to cut up. Okay. One of the meanings that I should have listed here is also to expand. Okay. Sharraha yusharrihu tashrihan, form 2. Brought it here because from an Urdu point of view, we have used the word tashrih, and which means to dissect, to anatomize, to explain, to interpret. Okay. So in this context, alam nashrah, this is normally translated as we expand. Did we not expand? Laka, okay, for you. This, by the way, Damir Muttasil ka, which is for second person, is goes to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So this is basically a message going from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about some of the things that happen to him in his life, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually there are a lot of words of support in it. Okay. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Did we not expand for you? Sadrak. So sadra yasduru suduran. We saw this word before as well, and I think at least more than once. The first time we saw it in Surat al-Nas, and then second time in Surat al-Adiyat. To emanate, to originate, to come forth, to go forth.
Oh,
Sudur. Sudur is the word sadr with the plural of sudur means chest, heart, also means mind, thought, front part, leader, start, inception. The word masdar comes from this as well, and we talked about it. The reason why the masdar, one of the meaning of masdar is something which is original, which is the source. Okay, and we discussed how for the trilateral verbs, past tense verbs, they are, according to some scholars, the masdar is actually the original and then the verbs and everything else comes from it. And that's where the name masdar comes from. Of course, that's not the case for the mazid verbs, where the masdar is actually derived from the verb itself, yeah, on a given pattern. But anyway, so sadra yasduru is to originate, to come forth, and sadr means chest, heart, and so on. In this case, it will be your heart or your chest. For you, your heart slash chest. So did we not expand for you your heart or your chest? Any question before I move on? Okay. We go to ayah number 2. وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ. So multiple parts in this. وَوَضَعْ, and then na. Wow is harf atf. And then wada'a is fi'l madi مبني على سكون. na is ضمير متصل في محل رفع فاعل. Again goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anka, jar wa majroor. And then wizra, wizraka. Wizra is one, and ka is another word. Wizra is مفعول به بفعل وضع, and وهو مضاف, and ka is مضاف إليه. Okay. If you look at the meanings, wada'a, yada'u, wad'an. This is a misal, wawi, fail, bab, fataha. To lay flat, to spread, and to establish to a point, to deliver a baby, also has the meaning of to unburden, to relieve of, to remove burden. Okay. Um, to remove burden. And we removed anka, from you, with rak. Okay. There are multiple spellings of wizrak. So wazara yaziru wizran, which is bab sami'a, bab daraba, I should say, means to carry a burden or to take upon oneself some responsibility or some load. Also has the spellings are wazara yaziru, which is the same spelling with a different masdar though. Then wazira yawzaru, and then wizran or wazran or ziratan. Okay. And in this case, the meaning is different, to commit a sin. But one interesting thing is, notice it's a misal wawi verb, but in this spelling, the wazira yawzaru, notice the waw itself is not dropped in the mudare form. Okay, so that's an interesting observation. Normally, waw is dropped, like we saw wada'a yada'u, waw was dropped. Wajada yajidu is a very commonly used misal verb. It's also dropped. But in even in this case, wazara yaziru, it is dropped, but with a slightly variant spelling, wazira yauzaru, the waw is not dropped. And then wizr, the plural of auzar, means load, burden, or guilt, crime, sin, responsibility. Waziratun, which is another word which is used in the Quran, the ismul fa'il, the muannas form, one having the capacity to be responsible for one's action. One having the capacity to be responsible for one's actions. And then the word wazir also comes from the same root, helper, supporter, or counselor. In this case, we are dealing with wizr, which means load or burden. And we removed from you your burden. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Did we not expand for you your heart or chest? And then وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ. Did we not remove from you your burden? Okay. Any question on the first or the second ayah before I move to the next one? Okay. Move on to the next one. Ayah number 3. الَّذِي أَنْقَذَ ظَهْرَكَ. الَّذِي is not li wizr, okay, which was the in the last ayah. And then, of course, it is ismul mawsul. So what follows is silatul mawsul. Anqada is fi'l madi. Fa'il mustatir. Taqdiruhu huwa. Zahra and ka. Zahra is maf'ulun bihi. And ka is mudaf ilayhi. And of course, this jumla fi'liya is la muhla laha min al-i'rab. Silatul mawsul. Okay. In terms of the translation, allazi, the one which, remember this is related to wizr, which is the burden, your burden, the one which, anqada, okay, anqada, naqada yanqudu, naqdan, bab nasara, to dismantle, to undo, to tear down, to cancel, to nullify, to reverse. And then form 4, anqada yunqadu inqadan, to weigh heavily, to weigh heavily. Okay. So the one which weighed heavily, zaharak, zahara yazharu, zuhuran, bab fataha, to appear, to become apparent, to manifest, to plain, evident. Azhara yuzhiru is haran, to make visible. There's a causative meaning, to make apparent, to show, to demonstrate, and so on. Also has the meaning of to enter into a noon or midday. Okay, like asbaha means to enter into the morning time. Okay, or amsa means to enter into the evening time. Okay, and then azhara yuzhiru means to enter into the noon time or the midday, and that's where the Salatul Zuhr name comes from as well. Zahar, with the plural of zuhur, means back, backside, also back door, as well as after, behind, and loins. Okay, has been used in the context of loins in Quran as well. So Zaharak will be on your back. Okay. On will be implied on your back. Okay. So that the one which, meaning the burden on you, which weighed heavily on your back. But Abdul Hamid, please go ahead.
Brother, how you translate وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ?
And we removed from you your burden.
This is because this is matuf ala the sabika, so it should not be like that. We did not remove.
Okay, good question. It is ma'tuf to the sentence starting with lam nashrah laka sadrak. So the first sentence is negative. did we not expand, okay, for you your chest? Now from and then the next one is, and we removed from you your burden. So it is um I mean, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking a question. Of course, this did happen. Yes, the first thing did happen. It's just a way of communicating that message. Um, so it is, I know we will not translate this as did we not remove from you your burden. That negation was only in the first sentence. The second sentence does not have negation in it.
Okay, Jazakallah khair.
Yeah. أَلَمْ نَشْرَحْ لَكَ صَدْرَكَ وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ. Did we not expand for you your heart? وَوَضَعْنَا عَنْكَ وِزْرَكَ. And we removed from you your burden. الَّذِي أَنْقَضَ ظَهْرَكَ. The one which weighed heavily on your back. Okay. So whenever we read this and understand its high level meaning, of course, the question should raise in our head, okay, what exactly does it mean that his chest was expanded and his load was removed and his the load which weighed heavily on him. So I think that's where the tafasir, of course, will help a lot. And so I do encourage to study them. And even if we have studied before, it's always good to kind of go back and look at the same one or even the new ones or different one that we have not studied, because you always kind of learn something more. Ayah number 4, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. وَرَفَعْنَا. Again, حرف عطف. رفع is فعل ماضي مبني على سكون. نا is ضمير متصل في محل رفع فاعل. لك جار ومجرور. Okay. And then ذكرك. So this is basically same analysis as ayah number 2. ذكرى here is مفعول به وهو مضاف, and ka is مضاف إليه. And this is معطوف على you can say وَوَضَعْنَا. Okay. وَضَعْنَا. Because the sila has ended. Sila was only about the Vizrak, and now it basically goes back to that previous sentence again. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. So رفع يرفع رفعا باب فتحة, to raise, to lift, to raise in esteem, to elevate. رافع, the one who raises, and ismul maf'ul is, and the ismul maf'ul is marfu'un, okay? Which basically in the language purely from a dictionary perspective means raised, but then of course grammatically we know that it is one of the ending of or the case of a noun, okay? Or a mood of a verb, okay? In the case of noun, we know marfu, mansub, majroor. In the case of verb, we know it is marfu, mansub, and majzoom. So warafa'na, and we elevated, and we elevated laka, for you, zikrak. Zakara yadhkuru zikran, zakaran, to preserve something in one's memory, to remember, to bear in mind, to recall. Also means to mention. Zakara yuzakkiru tazkiran, form 2, to remind, to admonish. And then form 5, tazakkara yatazakkaru, tazakkuran goes back to remember, to ponder, to contemplate. Okay. Zikr, which is a verbal noun, and in that context, the meanings are to recall something, to tell something, also means thinking or mentioning. But in the context of noun, it can be used as well. And in that case, the meaning is remembrance, recollection, revelation from God, past events, history, status, position, or reputation. Okay. Those are all meanings given in the dictionary for this word. So for you, your reputation. We raised for you your reputation. Okay. So these first four ayat are kind of in the same flow. Did we not raise? Sorry, did we not expand your chest? And did we and remove from you your burden, that which weighed heavily upon you, on your back? وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, and we elevated for you your reputation. And then it goes on to say, فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Okay, very commonly quoted ayah number 5 in this surah. Whenever there's difficulty, this ayah is quoted. Let's do an analysis here. فَإِنَّ, the fa, and then inna. So the fa here is said to be isti'nafiya. Inna, we know, is harf tawkidin wa nasbin. Ma'a is zarf. Okay. And this is shibhu jumla fi mahalli raf'in khabar inna. Okay. Wa huwa mudaf, of course. And then al-usr is mudaf ilayhi. And then yusra is ismu inna mansubun. Ismu inna. Okay. So inna, indeed, ma'a, with, al-usr. Notice the al-usr is definite. Many different spellings for it. Asura ya'suru, usran, usuran, which is bab karuma. And then asira ya'saru, asaran, bab sami'a. For these two, the meaning is to be hard, to be difficult. And then asara ya'siru or ya'suru, isran, which is bab daraba or bab nasara, means to press, to urge, to force, to compel, to coerce. And then asirun, okay, means hard, difficult, or trying. And then usr has the meaning of hardship or difficulty, which is what the word that we are dealing with here. And then usra, adversity, and then hardship and difficulty. So this seems to be a synonym of the previous one. So al-usr is the difficulty, the difficulty or hardship. Difficulty or the hardship. Okay. And then yusr, yasira. So this is actually a misal ya'i verb. Okay. Yasira, yaisaru, and then yasaran, to be or become easy. Also, there are variant spellings. Yasura, yaisuru, yusran. to be or become small or little. Yassara, yuyassiru, taysiran, to make something easy. Okay? And then muyassir and muyassar will be the ism fa'il and ism maf'ul respectively from this. We use the word muyassar quite often. And then yusr means easy, easy or something which is facilitated. Yusra is ism tafdeel, means easier or easiest. So yusr here is ease. For the difficulty is an ease. Some have also translated this as relief. Okay. So فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, وَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, if you say the ending. Now notice one interesting thing here, that these ismu inna is yusr. Okay. It was an interesting observation that ismu inna is a yusr, while ma'a is actually the khabar inna. And we know ismu inna is basically what originally was a mubtada, the subject, which becomes ismu inna whenever you have inna. Okay, so the subject of this particular sentence is yusr, is ease. Okay, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the ease. Subject is not the difficulty, subject is ease. And what Allah is saying is that with that, the ease is there with the difficulty. Okay, and then we are also told that, notice the difference between al-usr and yusr. Al-usr is definite, while yusr is indefinite. Okay, so one way that scholars have explained it is that with every difficulty, there is at least one ease, if not more. There is at least one way out. There is at least one way of relief, but it doesn't limit it. It's not limited to one. It can be more, depending upon the difficulty, it becomes circumstances. It can be more. Okay, so very uplifting that with every difficulty there is at least one ease. Okay, somebody once said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not create any difficulty without first creating a ease, without first creating an ease for it. Okay? That was just one thing, and the other thing is just as we have seen before, that we learned the rule that actually two rules are worth mentioning here. One is that the zarf, or the jar majroor shibu jamla, meaning the adverbial phrase or the prepositional phrase, can never be mubtada, even if they come at the beginning of the sentence. Okay, so wherever I'm saying mubtada, you can also replace it with ismu inna as well. Okay, so even if they come at the beginning of a sentence, they cannot be mubtada or ismu inna. Okay, they will always be in that case they can be zarf. I mean, they can come in as a khabar, but they cannot be mubtada or ismu inna. And if the mubtada or ismu inna is indefinite, and the khabar is a zarf or a jar majroor shibu jumla, then the khabar, sorry, the ism or ismu inna or the mubtada should always come at the end. They should always be muakhar, and that's what maybe I should have mentioned it here. Ismu inna is muakhar. And the khabar inna was muqaddam. We are just seeing an application of that rule, that if the mubtada or the ismu inna is indefinite and its khabar is either a jar majroor or a zarf, then that khabar will come first, and the ismu inna or mubtada will come at the end. That's what we are seeing in this case as well. Any question on this before we move on? Okay, we'll move on, inshallah. So this is very similar analysis, but I'll just quickly do it. Inna is harfu tawkidin wa nasbin. Ma'a is zarf. In this case, it is actually a shibu jumla. Fi mahalli raf'in khabar inna muqaddam wa huwa mudaf and al-usr is mudaf ilayhi. And then yusr is ismu inna muakhar. Okay. And of course, the same translation. Indeed, with the difficulty slash hardship is an ease slash relief. Okay. We move on to the next ayah, inshallah. Ayah number 7. فَإِذَا فَرَغْتَ فَانْصَبْ. Again, another fa isti'nafiyah. إذا is a zarf. So lizaman for time. And it does contain the ma'na shart. متضمن معنى الشرط. فرغت فعل ماضي مبني على سكون تاء الضمير المتصل في محل رفع فاعل. So that is the shart. And then jawab shart comes after that. Fansab. Okay. So fa we need the fa in the jawab shart if the jawab shart is a basically fulfill certain conditions. One of the conditions is that it's talabiyya, which itself is 3 different conditions. Can be amr, nahi, or istifhamiyya. In this case, it is amr. That's why the fa is needed. So this fa is al-fa'u waqi'atu fi jawab shart. Okay. And then insab is fi'l amr mabni ala sukun fa'il mustatir taqdiruhu anta. Okay. Let's look at the meanings, inshallah. فَإِذَا فرغت. So when فرغت, فرغ يفرغ or fariga yafragu. Okay. So Bab Nasara as well as Bab Sami'a, both spellings are given. Faragan or furugan, to be empty, to be vacant, void, to be used up, to take layer, to complete an assignment, to become free of tasks, Okay. And then form 4 is afraga yufrigu ifragan, to empty, to pour out, to grant, to bestow. Here we are dealing with the Thulasi Mujarrad form, to become free of tasks. Okay. So when faragta, when you have finished your tasks, okay, fansab, nasaba yansubu, nasban, okay, bab nasara, to raise, to set up, to hoist, And then nasiba yansabu bab sami'a nasban, to exert oneself, to be exhausted, to be fatigued. The word nasib also is from this root, lower part of an object, also has the meaning of base, abject, one who is low, as well as the meaning which in this Quran is used as well is share or portion. Okay. Also nasibatun, which is the ismul fa'il, muannas form, one working hard, one who is constant, concerned, and weary. And then ismul maf'ul mansub comes from this, something which is raised, set up, or erected. Okay. So interestingly, the two verbs which are used, rafa'a and nasaba, and the ism maf'ul, marfu and mansub are in this particular surah. The fun sub, um, the translation typically is that this is exert, okay, or strive. Okay. And what is typically implied with this in devotion, or also to stand up for prayers, for prayer. Okay. So when you are finished with your worldly responsibilities, then now exert yourself in devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay. Wa ila rabbika farghab. Last ayah. Wa ila, wa of course is harfu atf. Ila harfu jar. Rabbi ism majroor. Wa huwa mudaf, and ka is mudaf ilayhi. Farghab. Okay. Fa and irghab. Arab dictionary tell us this fa is a zaida. Sorry. As zaida. Okay. And irghab is fail amr mabni ala sukun, fa'il mustatir taqdiruhu anta. Okay. And wa ila, and implicitly turn to rabbika, your Lord, farghab. Okay. Raghiba yarghabu, raghbatan, raghaban, bab sami'a. This is one of the interesting verbs where the meaning changes completely in the opposite direction, depending upon the harf jar which is used. So if it is used with harf jar fi, the meaning is to desire, to wish, to crave. And an, it changes the meaning to loathe, to detest. Okay. So in this particular case, it is implicitly the first one, to wish, to desire, to crave. Okay. So farghab, okay, basically the typical translation is longing, okay, or with hope. Okay. And turn to your Lord, hoping or longing for something good. That was the last ayah in this surah. Any questions so far?
Yes, please.
Go ahead, Brother Abdul Hamid.
In this ayat, there is a rafa and nasab. So is there, when we say this is isam marfu and isam mansub, is the same link something? Nasab and marfu?
So when we say the ism is marfu, or when we
Yes.
say ism is mansub,
Mhm.
yeah, those words mansub, like in this case, or the marfu, which you saw before, they come from this root, but there is a grammatical meaning of them, and then
Yes.
there is a regular language meaning of them. Like the regular language meaning of mansub is something which is raised or set up. Okay.
Okay. So
But
this, when we say this is ism mansub, so it is how it is, raised.
but in the case of in the grammatical meaning of this word mansub is different than it being raised or it being set up. The grammatically what they have done is that they have taken all the nouns as they are used in the sentence, and they say they can be in one of the three states or cases, and the name of one of the case they gave it a name, and that name is mansub. Another one is it is marfu. Now, I mean, it definitely has something to do with it being raised, because if you think about it, mansub ending is related to a. Okay, so it is. I mean, in your mind, the word a is like raising your voice. Okay, and then the jar or majroor is where you are basically pulling it down. The harfu jar pulls down the vowel from the dhamma to kasra, and kasra is written down, so it has the action of pulling it down. So that which is pulled is ism majroor. That which is pulled is ism majroor. So its case is called majroor. So there is, I'm sure there's an explanation why they chose this word, because these words had a meaning in the language, and they considered that meaning to be closer to how they want to explain that case of a noun. So they picked it, but it has now lost that connection. People, when somebody's talking about ism being mansub, they're not thinking of the language meaning of mansub. They just know that, oh, it is mansub because it is maf'ul bihi or ismu inna or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Jazakallah khair.
Yeah. Brother Kamal, please go ahead.
I'm just wondering that in ayat number 6, it's not starting with harfiyat wow, because in situation like fathuli ibadi fathuli janati, or in the faiza farakta fanza ila rabbika, the ayat next ayat or next sentence starts with wow, harfiyat wow. But here we are fainna ma'al usri yusra, then we are not starting with fainna, but just with inna ma'al usri yusra. Is that
Yeah,
some?
because it is, and I think if I remember correctly, the one of the dictionaries mentioned that this repetition of the previous ayah is actually for tawqeed. Okay, it is just to remind once again that with the difficulty is an ease, or with every difficulty there is an ease. It is just for tawqeed. So when there is a tawqeed, then your connection with the previous ayah is not through a harfu atf. So it is not through a waw or a fa or thumma, but rather it is the tawqeed does not require any particle to come. Tawqeed can come just like that. Okay? For example, quite often we say, Rabbi zidni ilman ajma'in. Okay, because in Rabbi zidni ilman, we say, oh Allah, increase me in knowledge. But then we are emphasizing not just me, but everybody, ajma'in, all of everybody. So and there's nothing before ajma'in. We are not saying wa ajma'in, or we are not saying fa ajma'in. We are not saying some. We are not using any particle of conjunction, any of the huruf atf. So tawqeed does not require any particle of conjunction to appear. And the purpose of this sentence in ayah number 6 is tawqeed for the previous one.
Thank you.